Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Wednesday, July 7th, 2021. I'm Delaware Dash. Thank you for tuning in. Now, let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Political assassination has no place in the Caribbean. President Ali condemns murder of Haiti president. No confidence motion, an opportunity to remind APNU+AFC of shortcomings in government, says Dr. Frank Anthony. GUYSUCO pays off almost $900 million in debt. Leopold Street youth remanded for setting fire to vulcanizing shop and houses. And CGX finally spuds first well in quarantine block. And now for the news in detail. Haitis President Moise has been killed and his wife injured in an attack on their home in the nation's capital, Port-au-Prince. Guyana's President Dr. Irfan Ali has called for swift justice, noting that political assassinations have no place in the contemporary Caribbean. Here's Lekram Bagirat with our lead story tonight.
Haiti has declared a state of emergency after the assassination of its president, 53-year-old Jovenel Moise, who was shot dead during the night in his private home on the outskirts of the capital, Port-au-Prince. Interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph in a statement revealed that, quote, at around 1 a.m., a group of unidentified individuals, some of whom were speaking Spanish, have attacked the president of the republic's private residence and mortally wounded the head of state, end quote. Joseph appealed to the Caribbean nation's 11 million population for calm and condemned what he called an odious, inhuman and barbaric act in which Moise's wife Martine was also seriously wounded. Leaders across the Caribbean have joined in condemnation of the attack, similarly calling for peace and swift justice. Guyana's President Dr. Irfan Ali in a statement expressed that this horrific act is a tragedy for both Haiti and the Caribbean. He said, quote, those responsible for this indefensible and cowardly execution must be brought swiftly to justice. Political assassination has no place in the contemporary Caribbean. It solves nothing nor resolves anything. Such murderous actions are repugnant to the values of the regional integration movement and incompatible with democratic values and constitutional rule, end quote. The Guyanese head of state noted too that the assassination compounds the already disquieting political and constitutional crisis in Haiti. President Ali said Guyana will continue to work with the Caribbean community in seeking to engage with Haiti in order to ensure peace and stability. Mr. Moise had led Haiti, one of the poorest nations in the world, since 2017, but had faced widespread protests demanding his resignation. His time in office was rocky as he faced accusations of corruption, and there were widespread demonstrations in the capital and other cities earlier this year. Haiti's opposition said that Mr. Moise's 5-year term should have ended on February 7, 2021, 5 years to the day since his predecessor, Michael Martelly, stepped down. In February this year, on the day the opposition wanted him to leave office, Mr. Moise said an attempt to kill him and overthrow the government had been foiled. Reporting for the Evening News, Lekram Bagirat.
In other news, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony says he is unbothered by the no-confidence motion filed against him by APNU+AFC coalition, saying that it will be an opportunity to remind the party of its shortcomings over the past 5 years whilst in government. Vanu Manikchand has details.
Mr. Harman has given us a unique opportunity for us to debate this matter in the Parliament. And of course, we welcome this opportunity to remind Mr. Harman and the APNU+AFC of the many shortcomings that they have had over the last 5 years that they were in government. And we recall the damage, the destruction that they have done to the health sector. And I have no problem reminding them of all of that.
That was Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony's response to the no-confidence motion filed against him by opposition leader Joseph Harman. According to the APNU+AFC, the nation has lost confidence in Dr. Anthony, hence the party has formally taken action on behalf of the people of Guyana. The coalition opposition contends that the health minister's management of the COVID-19 pandemic has been woeful and that he should be held responsible responsible for the health care crisis the country is in. However, Dr. Anthony, during an interview with a social media commentator, highlighted the state of the health sector under the previous administration, including the fact that they had 3 health ministers during that short span of time.
That they had some of the biggest scandals that happened in health, which include the bond, the now famous bond, the Sussex Street bond. You remember that?
Yes.
They had the scandal as it regards to drug shortages, where they've spent close to $35 billion in drugs and medical supplies. But across this country, there were massive shortages of medicines. And then just recently, when we took over, we discovered that they had more than $10 billion worth of medicine that had expired at the Diamond Bond. And just recently, we had to throw away another $4 billion worth because they procured things, or there were things in there that was expiring.
According to the health minister, this will be an opportunity for the PPPC government to review and highlight the state of the health sector that it inherited from the coalition regime.
In a very short period of time, we have managed to deal with the pandemic. We have also started turning around all the deficiencies that they've had in the sector. And then you have this comical exercise by Harman and team to bring a no confidence motion. So we'll be happy to deal with them in Parliament, and we'll be happy to expose them once again to the Guyanese public so that people can see the incompetence and what they have done and be reminded of what they have done to this country, how much money they have squandered and how they have squandered it, and how many lives they have put at risk.
The no confidence motion that was filed with the clerk of the National Assembly on Tuesday against Dr. Anthony is being seconded by former Junior Health Minister Dr. Karen Cummins.
Meanwhile, Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben has expressed that the no-confidence motion brought against him and his colleague, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony, by the APNU+AFC coalition is a stunt and a mean to deflect from critical security issues. Here's Vanu Manikchand again with the details.
According to the APNU+AFC opposition, the no-confidence motion filed by Opposition Leader Joseph Harman against Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben is on behalf of hundreds of thousands of Guyanese who lost all confidence in his performance. But during an interview with a social media commentator, Minister Ben said the opposition-sponsored no-confidence motion is a stunt to deflect the public's attention.
I see it as a stunt. It is intended to deflect, to make oblique attacks, to not have persons, the public, pay attention to the security issues in our case, which we've been taking condign action on. And also to create conditions for upsets, for misbehavior, for rioting perhaps.
Nevertheless, Minister Ben is confident of overcoming the motion of no confidence against him, especially since his administration, the PPPC government, currently holds 33 seats in the National Assembly, whereas the APNU+AFC opposition only has 31 seats.
In the first instance, they have to look at the lineup in the Parliament with respect to numbers. Do they have the numbers for no confidence motion? Is there a possibility that there is a Charadas supposedly on our side? Is there a possibility that someone of us will not vote on the issue, will abstain? I don't think those conditions exist. So in respect of the Parliament itself, I think it's a no-go.
The Home Affairs Minister further posited that while he is not adverse of criticisms, he is awaiting the debates on the motion to defend his record since assuming the post in August last year.
We have repeatedly said, if anyone would listen, and to be rational about what you said, is that serious crime in Guyana has gone down by 22%. That's a fact. It's a fact which cannot be set aside. Road deaths have gone down by 30%. All of those numbers are year-to-date versus 2020. Most of the other statistics which we speak of have shown reduction. So perhaps we didn't pay enough attention to what was going on last year and the previous year in terms of crime. But now, and rightfully so, we can focus on the real and proper issues which affect the daily lives of our guys. Issues of crime, insecurity, upsets in the community, even misdemeanors, traffic safety. We can focus on these things now.
The APNU+AFC is contending that crime in all forms is on an astronomical increase in Guyana and that citizens are living in mortal fear. The motion is being seconded by Shadow Home Affairs Minister Gita Chandan Edmund.
Increased infrastructural development over the next few years has pointed to a rising demand for aggregate, and local quarry operators have been asked to increase their production to take the advantage of such opportunities. Rupasina Ryan reports.
At a quarry seminar organized by the Ghana Geology and Mines Commission on Tuesday, Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat indicated that the demand for aggregates is set to surpass 1 million tons within the next year, while production in Guyana is just about 650,000. Identifying this shortfall, he said government has reached out to operators to boost their production in order to fulfill the local demand.
Last year, if I'm correct, our demand was close to 900,000 tons of aggregates. We are producing at probably around 650,000 or a little less. And with a new developmental project, it will only, demand for stone will only escalate. And how I see it, the demand will probably reach 1.5 million tons in another year or two. And we are still producing at maybe 650,000. So that is why as a government we recognize that there is a significant shortfall. We recognize that we need to boost the production in this sector. And we would have called upon the, I think it's 8 quarry operators, existing license, when we took over to boost their production.
The minister explained that with a large import bill for this resource, opportunities for locals to capitalize on are lost. He also opined that government is on a mission to transform the economy, but Guyanese must be able to capitalize on the local investments.
It is quite embarrassing too that we are a country with so many natural resources, more so in the quarrying mining side. And for the last couple of years, we have been importing over 200,000 tons of aggregates every single year. Importing stones or aggregates for the last 5 years, it represents a loss in opportunity for you. It represents a loss in opportunity for Guyanese businesses. It represents a loss in revenue for our country. It represents a loss in employment and business opportunities for Guyanese and Guyanese businesses.
Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
The Gyaneshogo Corporation has paid off almost $900 million in debt to its urgent trade creditors and unions, in the process clearing its long-standing debt to the Guyana Agriculture and General Workers Union. Joel Bryan tells us more.
During an interview with this newscast, GUYSUCO's Chief Executive Officer, Sesnarayan Singh, spoke of the strides the corporation has made clearing its multi-million-dollar debts. He explained that GUYSUCO has sought to tackle its most urgent debts first and has paid out almost $900 million over the past few months.
GUYSUCO has many kinds of debts. It has what you call urgent debts, and let me define it. Urgent debts are those debts that if we don't pay them, then the whole operation grinds to a halt. This is like BASF, Brass Aluminium and Cast Iron Foundry, the people who make bearings and cast iron parts for the estates in West Rhine-Veldt. If they withdraw their services from GUYSUCO, then GUYSUCO is in trouble. So those kinds of urgent debt is about $1 billion. That is now reduced to about, the last count I was told was 750 million.
Included in the amounts GUYSUCO has paid down is money owed to the Guyana Agriculture and General Workers Union, GAU, and the National Insurance Scheme, NIS.
While we've paid 700 million down, it's a combination of everything. NIS, the trade creditors who are urgent, GAU, the foreign creditors, like the people who we buy the fertilizers from, the agrochemicals from. So it's a combination of many factors. But what we have seen, the trade creditors have come down. We've seen that we've restarted paying NIS. We've seen that GUYSUCO does not owe anything to GAU today. We've paid off every single dime that we owe to GAU from the past. GUYSUCO's paid off all of its agrochemical debt and is up to date on all its payment and has paid for all of its agrochemicals for 2021. GUYSUCO's paid off all of its fertilizer debt and is up to date with those and has paid for all its fertilizer need for 2021.
Singh said that while GUYSUCO has taken care of its core debts, they will struggle financially with the Albion estate. The estate has been inundated with flood waters brought on by the torrential rains that have battered Guyana over the past few months. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
Coming up, prostitution, arson, sexual offenses among issues affecting Region 9, and 90% of COVID-19 infected persons have recovered. Stay with us.
Your child needs nutrients every day. And Enfagro contains recommended levels of DHA and iron, which supports your child's mental development. Enfagro has nutrients which cow's milk does not contain. Support your toddler's growth and complement their diet with Enfagro.
It happens. Your septic tank is full. All the waste from your toilet goes into your septic tank through the sewage line. When your tank is full, the two most common indicators are an overflowing tank and an overflowing toilet. It is recommended that Sevon's Waste Management empty your septic tank every 2 to 3 years to avoid any embarrassment. And before you can say, shh, it's gone. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455 or 218-1156.
At John Lewis Styles, we carry only first quality men's and women's clothing, footwear, and accessories. As authorized dealers, our items come directly from the manufacturing brands and are available in all sizes and colors. What we sell was never on display in another store. It's time you know the truth about what you buy. Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Enroll at the elite Art Williams and Harry Wendt Aeronautical Engineering School and graduate with an associate degree in aircraft maintenance engineering. You're also accredited by the National Accreditation Council of Guyana. Visit our virtual open day on July 9th, 2021 from 10 hours at the Eugene F. Correa Airport, East Coast of Marara, or call us on 222-2155 or 222-1210. Visit our website at www.aesguyana.net or social media for more information and Zoom meeting ID and passcode. The Art Williams and Harry Wendt Aeronautical Engineering School, investing in your future since 1993.
The following is a paid advertisement. Pretty Paul Singh Investments Inc. PSI is appealing the land matter involving Demerara Contractors and Engineers Limited DCEL and Demerara Distillers Limited DDL. We want the public to know that millions of dollars were expended by PSI to develop a mudflat foreshore land into a state-of-the-art fish smoking plant and wharf extension. Dissatisfied with the judgment, we believe if DCEL and DDL DCEL were sincere in their claims, they would have objected during the early stages before millions were invested by PSI into converting the mudflat foreshore into accessible and usable land. The development activities were done over years, in broad daylight, and yet DCEL and DDL said they were unaware of works being done, even though their place of business was just 20 yards away. It must be noted strongly that PSI's predecessor, Georgetown Seafood Limited, utilized portions of the said area in contention for over 40 years, in which time no objections were made by DCEL or DDL, nor was any sign put up or fence erected showing boundaries. All that DCEL and DDL built happens to be a wooden bridge across a facade and a chain link fence, both of which were constructed in the year 2021 after the land dispute arose. We note that contrary to what is being said, PSI was never the aggressor. In fact, our records show agents of DCEL descending onto the property and damaging same. It is only fair that PSI is compensated for the substantial investments made thus far. That was a paid advertisement.
Your child needs nutrients every day. And Enfagro contains recommended levels of DHA and iron, which supports your child's mental development. Enfagro has nutrients which cow's milk does not contain. Support your toddler's growth and complement their diet with Enfagro.
Looking for fresh, tender, and flavorful meat? Then check out Rossignol Butchery for steaks, burgers, sausages, minced meat, fish, and chicken. For a tasty, attractive cocktail, we have a wide variety of packaged deli meats and cheeses to decorate your platter. We also stock a wide assortment of canned goods, seasoning salt, sauces, and marinade, all in a highly hygienic, welcoming atmosphere with warm and welcoming staff to cater to all your needs. Rossignol Butchery, we meet your needs. 73 to 74 Church Street, Georgetown. Telephone number 223-00.
Get the perfect collection of Stanley hand tools today from Sylvie's Variety Store. Quality and reliability in the palm of your hands. From wrenches, measuring tapes, hammers, saws, socket sets, and screwdrivers. With constant perfection in designs and quality, we update our stock to get you the latest product line. Sylvie's Variety Store gets you the right Stanley tool for the job.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. 22-year-old Calvin Lawrence of Leopold Street, Working Rust, Georgetown, was not required to plead to the charge of arson when he appeared before Chief Magistrate Ann McLennan at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. The first charge stated that on June 24, 2021, at Lot 1 George Street, Working Rust, he unlawfully and maliciously set fire to a house valued $18 million, containing articles valued $6 million, property of Colin Bentley. It is also alleged that on June 24, 2021, at Lot 1 George Street, Working Rust, he unlawfully and maliciously set fire to a house valued $38 million owned by Nalini Babulal, containing articles valued $16 million belonging to Kevin Phillips. And thirdly, it is also alleged that on June 24, 2021, at Lot 1 George Street, Working Rust, he unlawfully and maliciously set fire to a house valued $250 million, containing articles amounting to $30 million, property of Hardat Maniram. Over a dozen persons, including Venezuelan migrants, were left homeless after the early morning fire destroyed the 3 buildings. Commander for Region 9 Upper Taketu Essequibo, Raphael Rose, says there are a number of issues affecting his district, ranging from prostitution, arson, traffic violations, as well as sexual offenses, is seeing an increase this year. Luanda McAllister tells us more.
Region 9 Commander Raphael Rose, who took office in June this year, said he, along with ranks in the district, have been working assiduously to tackle issues of prostitution, arson, robberies, traffic offences and sexual assault. He made this disclosure during this week's Police Anew program. The commander said for the year so far, there has been a decrease in simple arson and break and entry, but there are increases in other areas of crime.
There has been an increase in not really serious crime, but sexual offenses. Comparing the period last year and this year, there were 10 reported cases, and last year there were 6 cases reported. And what we intend to do is to start sensitizing persons in the villages about sexual offenses and what action they should take in terms of when they realize that persons are committing themselves along these lines. There is an increase in that area. The other areas, like break and enter, there being a decrease in break and enter. 14 last year comparing to 6 this year. Awesome. Same period. We had robbery with violence. There has been a slight increase of 2 reported cases comparing with last year. Murder, there hasn't been any murder for the year so far.
In terms of sexual offences in the region, the commander said they have started working closely with the welfare and childcare protection to curb this issue.
So we need more, like the Child Protection Agency, more equipped in terms of transportation and area where they can house these victims that is being affected. Because in most cases, the victims has to remain in the same house with the father, other than if the police steps in.
As for prostitution, the commander said there have been several reports of this offence, and those reports were attended to. Reporting for the Evening News, Lawanda McAllister.
Canadian-based oil company CGX Energy Incorporated, which was given a November 2021 deadline to drill its first well in the Quarantine block by the government of Guyana, has finally spotted its first exploration well. Here are the details.
According to a Maritime Administration Department notice, CGX started drilling the Kawa 1 well on July the 2nd in the Quarantine block. It is their first well in the block and comes ahead of a November 2021 deadline imposed by the government last year. According to the notice, drilling will be done by the Modu Mares Discoverer, 90 nautical miles from the coast of Guyana. The drilling, Marad informed, will conclude on December 15, 2021. As is usually the case with offshore oil exploration sites, mariners were advised to exercise caution in the vicinity. CGX and Frontera Energy, its joint venture partner, had previously commissioned an independent report assessing the Quarantine block. This report had revealed that they are potentially sitting on 4.9 million barrels of oil equivalent in the Demerara and Quarantine blocks under their control. The report had said that there are a total of 32 prospects in the 2 blocks, inclusive of 27 in the Quarantine block and 5 in the Demerara block. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
Finance Minister Dr. Ashley Singh says he will consider having a national review of how the financial institutions in the country implemented the COVID-19 relief measures as announced by the government of Guyana in August 2020 to cushion the effects of the pandemic. He made this commitment in light of concerns raised by several consumers who noted that even though they were allowed to defer payments for their loans, they are still being charged accumulative interests. Andrew Carmichael has this story.
A moratorium is a legal instruction for debtors to postpone payment. When this happened last year during COVID, many persons who were indebted to financial institutions, they were happy. Now that they have to start paying on those loans again and they approach those banks, the banks are telling them that during that period, the loans attracted interest. The banks are also saying that that interest has to be paid now. The banks are also offering a loan to pay that interest. Many persons were not expecting that this would happen. That is the issue that I raised with Senior Minister for Finance, Dr. Ashley Singh.
As you know, we moved swiftly after COVID-19 had happened to put in place a moratorium, recognizing what COVID was doing to people's businesses. I can't say, I don't want to speak off the top of my head about how each bank has implemented it. But I will say that it's something that we'll certainly open to looking at, to examining how each bank implemented that moratorium and whether the manner in which they implemented it meets the objectives that were intended. That's certainly something that we are committed to doing.
According to Minister Singh, government has to strike a balance and cannot be leaning towards the consumer or the financial institution.
The reality is that we have to strike a balance. We have to make sure that we protect the strengths of the financial sector as well, because remember, the financial sector is intermediating resources. The financial sector is lending money, depositors' money. So the financial sector is not in a position simply to write off loans that can't be paid or restructure them in a way that will threaten the viability of the banks. So bear in mind that the financial sector, the banks are in fact lending to their loan customers deposits that they're holding from their deposit-making customers. And so a delicate balance has to be struck between ensuring that we provide relief to persons who have loans, while at the same time protecting the strength and stability of the financial system, because we are firmly committed to ensuring that we have a strong and stable financial system. So those two objectives have to be married, and we are firmly committed to ensuring that both of those objectives are served in parallel.
What some of the financial institutions are saying is that the central bank did not put mechanisms in place allowing them not to charge interest on those loans. However, Minister Singh has committed that he will be reviewing the situation. Reporting for Evening News from New Amsterdam, Andrew Carmichael.
A whopping 90% of persons who were infected with the novel coronavirus has recovered, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony has announced. Find out more in this Lake Bakirat report.
Since the COVID-19 pandemic hit Guyana in March 2020, a total of 20,645 persons have been infected with the life-threatening virus. But to date, a remarkable 90% of those who became infected have recovered.
With the numbers that we are seeing, 18,619 so far recovering, I think it's a good number. Of course, we would like to see it being much better, but unfortunately there were persons who had the severe form of COVID and died as a result. So
there are currently 1,600 active cases, of which some 60 persons are hospitalized. To date, 236,409 persons have received a first-dose vaccine, representing 48.6% of the population. On the other hand, a total of 115,642 persons are fully vaccinated, representing 23.8% of the population. The Health Minister has revealed that the first dose uptake among the older population is extremely high. He noted that the uptake among the younger population could be improved. He encouraged younger persons not to take the virus for granted and get vaccinated.
In the hospital now, we're seeing relatively younger persons who are coming into the hospital. We have, for example, persons in their 30s and so forth who are in the hospital. And most of these persons remain unvaccinated. So what people might think that if you're younger, you don't need to be vaccinated, that's not true. Because if you're not vaccinated, you're putting yourself at risk, and there is a percentage of persons who would get the severe form of the disease.
Guyana is currently offering first-dose AstraZeneca, Sinopharm, and Sputnik V vaccines. Second doses are available for all except Sputnik V, which health authorities are hopeful will arrive in the country soon. Reporting for the Evening News, Lake Bakirat.
The Ministry of Health has announced that 2 more persons who tested positive for the novel coronavirus have died. This takes the total number of deaths from the pandemic to 484. The latest fatalities are 2 males, a 59-year-old from Region 3, Essequibo Islands, West Demerara, and a 65-year-old from Region 4, Demerara, Mahaica. They both died while receiving care at a medical facility. Meanwhile, the country also recorded 77 new cases of the novel coronavirus, taking the total positive cases recorded to date to 20,645. There are 15 persons in the ICU, 89 in institutional isolation, 1,410 in home isolation, and 3 in institutional quarantine. The number of recoveries stands at 18,647. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbor Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Thursday, July 8 at 3 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Thursday, July 8 at 16 hours for a period of 1.5 hours.
Now, let's take a look at the local stock exchange market. Compliments of Gaski. Hetmeyer Shepherd named in West Indies one-day international squad to face Australia, and Harper disappointed after South Africa's series lost. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by Marcorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Satco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store, located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rheinveld.
Enroll at the Elite Art Williams and Harry Wendt Aeronautical Engineering School and graduate with an associate degree in aircraft maintenance engineering. We also are accredited by the National Accreditation Council of Guyana. Visit our virtual open day on July 9th, 2021 from 10 hours at the Eugene F. Karai Airport, East Coast Demerara, or call us on 222-2155 or 222-1210. Visit our website at www.aesguyana.net or social media for more information and Zoom meeting ID and passcode. The Art Williams and Harry Wendt Aeronautical Engineering School, investing in your future since 1993.
Massey is by your side as we continue the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. In collaboration with OneCart, you can now get your groceries delivered or you can pick up curbside. Call, email or WhatsApp your order to us. This service is available at both Providence and Turkine locations. Delivery and pickup between 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The fee is based on location. Orders must be paid in cash and placed 24 hours in advance. Special conditions apply. Remember to always protect yourself and those around you by wearing your masks. Also, don't forget to wash your hands and maintain a distance of 6 feet at all times around persons. Massey Stores. Our family serving your family. Your #1 supermarket cost cutter has everything you need. Come down to our Sheriff Street or our Track A Farm East Bank Demerara location and shop in comfort, knowing that you're also getting the most competitive prices. We currently have specials on onions, 5 pounds for $500 or a 50-pound bag for $3,500. Purple onions, 25-pound bag for $22.50. Happy macaroni 400-gram packet, 1 for $200 and 3 for $500. Just Juice, a 500 milliliter, 1 for $135 and get 4 for $500. Miran soybean oil 500 milliliter bottle, 1 for $275, 4 for $1,000. Aqua Pure water, 24 330 milliliter bottles, $1,100 per case. Buy 10 cases and get 1 case free, and much more. Give us a call on 231-7180 or 502-5660. You can also WhatsApp our farm branch on 686-6501 and our Sheriff Street branch on 686-7536.
Ultra Lubricants, the leading lubricants for tropical conditions, has been serving you for over 40 years, extending the life cycle of your vehicle's engine by protecting it from wear and corrosion, removes impurities, and reducing frequent vehicle oil changes. Ultra Lubricants is for every market, from two-wheel light vehicle to trucks, construction, agriculture equipment, mining activities, and boating. Ultra Lubricants, world-class lubricants for tropical conditions. Distributed by Industrial Supply of Guyana, Inc. and available.
Your child needs nutrients every day. And Enfagro contains recommended levels of DHA and iron, which supports your child's mental development. Enfagro has nutrients which cow's milk does not contain. Support your toddler's growth and complement their diet with Enfagro.
Welcome back to this evening's Sportcast, sponsored by Marcor.
Do you want to save money and improve on your equipment's owning and operating costs? Then sign up for Markup Customer Service Agreement, CSA, and get 19% discount on all CAT filters required to do your yearly maintenance. Reduce downtime with our oil sampling analysis. Manage your equipment's performance and get expert advice from our Caterpillar certified professionals. All of these and more are being offered once you sign up for a maintenance agreement. Visit us at 26 Providence or call us on 265-7315. Great productivity means great profit. Marker